Good morning, Avanti.
Good evening from my side.
How are
Today I
you?
don't have wine. I have water over coffee or water.
So, how was your vacation trip to London?
Yes, it was great. Other than the fact that on day two, my phone got stolen, which I am told is the true British experience. In 2023, there were approximately 115,000 that was stolen in London. And these are reported. I didn't even report. But I guess the British have not given up their old habit of stealing from us Indians. So now in the British Museum and in Tower of London with the crown jewels, my phone was still there.
So, speaking of London and Britain and British television, did you watch Adolescence?
Yes, I did. You watched it before me.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to watch it. And what are your general thoughts on Adolescence?
I really liked it. Yeah, it was so well made. It was great because it was 4 episodes, right? Everything was so well done. The topic that they covered was great. The message that they gave was great. The acting was superb. And the fact that they're all one shot, like every episode, mind blowing. So it was very emotional, especially the last episode, but it was great. What
Hmm.
did you think?
I loved it. I thought, is it like a mystery? I kept waiting for his innocence to be proven. And this is not a spoiler at all because the whole point of the show is that it's not a who done it, it's not a why done it, also, is what they're saying. It was just so heavy while watching it. You're just feeling like, oh my God, what is happening? As an experience, it was like, amazing.
Every show that we have watched is always cut to this, cut to that. It's not everyday life. And in this, it was one continuous flow. It's not a bad thing, but it kind of limited how much they could show. Because if it is a one shot, you can't be like, oh, let's go into his childhood or like
Hmm.
when he was a baby. You have to show it in that moment, what happened.
Hmm.
So I didn't know much about it. I just knew this boy is accused of murdering a girl. I also thought maybe he's innocent. And then first episode only they showed. Like and towards the end, I'm like, so I was looking at interviews and Stephen Graham, the co-creator and actor who plays his dad. He in interviews said exactly that is it's not a mystery or it's not a suspense or anything. It's not a spoiler. Or I also read some people about it's good, but it's not like that good, which I see their point of view. So I start thinking, what do you consider that good? Just to give you an example, like Interstellar, they have a different kind of beauty. It's not real life. It's like the opposite.
Hmm.
Here, it's the mundane real life thing that they have been able to just put so simply. So it can't even be day and night.
I didn't think about this that, oh, they can't do day and night, they can't do past flashback.
Yeah, the fact that they were able to achieve what they did in 4 episodes, each episode being what, 45 minutes to an hour long, I think that itself is brilliant.
They compared it to theater or plays,
Yeah.
and that is so apt, right? Because it's literally like a four-act play where everything is when it is, and that's it.
I was seeing some of the making because I'm like, how did you do this? There was one where the mother, she is walking up the stairs. Okay, so he like gives the camera to him, and then there's a guy standing on top, and he slowly takes the camera up. And I'm like, oh my God. And then the whole drone thing, I
Hmm.
think that was episode 2, where towards the end it goes to the site where she was
Yeah.
killed.
Yeah.
The fact they had the chase sequence, they ran, they came here, and then they mounted it on a drone in real time and it took off.
If there are cinematographers listening to this, they'll be like, "Arey, hum log bhi karte hain." But for us, we don't go in so
Yeah.
much. But for this one, is getting a lot of that exposure, and we as noobs are getting this kind of information. So for
Yeah.
us, it is fascinating.
But I feel even for the film world, like I saw Anurag Kashyap, Karan Johar, they all posted about how brilliantly the show is made. They've made like Anurag Kashyap and all have made brilliant movies. So I feel like it is kuch to hoga yaar itna. And even we liked it. So Chalchitra Talks posted a video. This, if you have watched it, the next thing you should watch is the same makers have made a movie in 2021, also a one shot. It's a 1.5 hour movie, and it stars Stephen Graham only. And
Which
it's
one?
called it's called Boiling Point.
I don't know much about his work, though
So
he's been in a lot of things. He's been in Peaky
Band of
Blind.
Brothers.
Usually, whatever the British equivalent of Bollywood is, they have these set of people who are in everything. Actually, in Harry Potter, the whole of the British film and television industry was there in some form.
Yeah, that's true.
But we didn't come across Stephen Graham.
Yeah, I have never. And I love his accent. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so
it's
different.
brilliant.
Yeah.
I, I mean, I'm listening to interviews only for the accent because by now we know most of it. But then he'll
Yeah.
say something in the accent and it's
He's
so
got to be
nice.
Irish, right? Is he Irish?
No,
It's like someone said Scouse accent.
so Scouse is not Ireland. It is northern, like British. Like this is very distinct.
Very, yeah.
But there is this MMA fighter. Have you heard of Paddy?
No.
Oh
He
my
talks like
God,
that.
same. It is so
Yeah.
much fun to watch him.
It's like, yeah, seriously, I'm only watching his interviews because I want to hear him talk.
It's brilliant.
So, like the first episode, it'll be about just accusing him. And
Okay.
then the next episode will be investigation. Maybe they'll start showing why, like why he did it.
It was a little different for me. Even after they showed that he had done it, I'm like, nee, abhi they will still prove that he's innocent. Like they're going to show him that no, it was not him, or maybe he didn't have a knife in his hand.
Not done it. Oh, so you thought he has not done it even after?
Yeah, because I just
Yeah,
expected a
like,
level of mystery. And plus, this guy is a kid and he looks innocent.
yeah, he looks so innocent. Well, up until the
Hmm.
third episode. But you know,
Yeah.
one thing that I noticed, okay, he didn't say, I didn't do it. The full episode in the first episode, he only said, I have not done anything wrong. So I think in his head, what he did wasn't wrong. I think he had accepted he did it. But it wasn't wrong in his opinion. And I love that sequence of how they did it also. The first one was like the what happened. Then it was like different things about what led to it. Then the third one was just his psyche. And fourth one was heartbreaking, man. I think it was just the burden of acceptance.
So the second episode, which is like a peek into the current education system, I was like, why can't they just have more teachers and the place where children are spending the most time of their day with their peers and getting influenced so much? How is that space not monitored more?
I feel even when we were growing up, it was similar. Because I'm talking about India, right? We were what, 70 kids in a class?
Hmm.
One teacher to 70 kids. So, but we didn't have phones at the
Yeah.
time. I wish they had gone more into that whole manosphere and the impact of social media, incel and all, because I had no clue what all of this is. Like zero. I had not heard the word manosphere before. I had not even heard the word incel before. I literally paused and started Googling these things because they didn't really explain it. But at the same time, I think they didn't want to put too much emphasis on one of the things. Yeah. Because they were talking about multiple things that can impact a child's life. Like you said, the school and the teachers not being really engaged. Like also parenting because they didn't show Jamie's parenting.
I think that whole manosphere thing and all, they didn't go into it. My opinion was that there is no point going into particular things which are relevant right now. 25, they'll just change all the emojis.
Yeah.
You don't know what different form of communication is only going to come up. So the whole point is if someone is watching this in 2026 or even 2030, it is just touching upon the fact that the children or the teens have their own form of communication going on, which the parents have no idea about.
No idea. Yeah.
And maybe they will not understand. Like when we try to understand, okay, what do you mean by incel? And okay, it means that emoji, but what does it imply? Even the detective was fumbling so much. Like, isn't that a good thing?
Yeah.
Wasn't she being nice to him? We just need to accept that just like maybe our boomer parents don't understand memes. Like you show them a meme and they'll ask, is this your friend? There's no point going into that rabbit hole. It is more
Yeah.
about are you able to create spaces for conversation of
Correct.
anything
Yeah.
about what they're feeling and if they're feeling any kind of pressure.
Yeah. The language that they use, the different colored hearts and the pill, the matrix, which I'm like, what are you guys? I had no clue that these different hearts mean different colored heart. Did you know?
No, I didn't know, but Avanti, do you still know is the question, even
No,
after Googling? That is what the point is.
which I agree with the inspector. I'll just stick with red hearts. One of my friends, and she posted something on Instagram, okay, and it was a good thing. So I commented and I was like, oh, I'm so happy. And then she said, thank you, Avanti, and she put a yellow heart. So I'm like, oh my god, yellow heart. Now after watching this show, I immediately went and like, what does yellow heart mean? And apparently it means like friendship. Different websites will tell you different things.
Avanti, one thing I realized, do not send purple heart.
Yes. Purple heart. You can send only send to,
Your
who you
partners,
want.
yes.
Yellow heart, happy and optimistic. Yellow heart.
No,
See,
so
I got it wrong.
but
Today only I googled. By the way, I have to say this since we're talking about the second episode,
hmm,
that Inspector Ashley Walters. I know. I saw your expression. There's one scene in which he's sitting and talking to that girl Jade, who's
hmm.
her best friend. She gets really upset, and he's like leaning forward. Okay, and I'm looking at Sujay. I'm like, are his arms flexed? And he's like, nope. I'm like, those are his unflexed arms.
Good casting, good casting.
Great job. Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
notice
So
that.
they were right there.
Maybe because I was
I
trying
think
to listen to what Jade had to say, Avanti.
I'm like, this girl is traumatized because her best friend was stabbed to death. And I'm like, are those arms flexed or are these unflexed biceps? So in Cell, I was
Hmm,
saying that these kids, boys who consider themselves not attractive and who don't get a lot of attention, it becomes an insecurity, right?
hmm.
Because sadly, that is one of the things as you're growing up, especially at that age, is your validation, which these days everyone is looking for with the social media. Everyone's like, oh, like Mila, comment Mila, and all that,
Hmm.
which even we are looking these days. but but I'm saying is these boys who don't get the attention, they don't get validation, they come insecure. But then when they go looking for answers, what is being kind of put into their head is putting the blame outwards. Is it's not me, it's the women who are the problem. Instead of just like not thinking about it, just
Hmm.
be a kid and have fun. It's like the best years of your life, but it's all going to point to someone else. Ki
Hmm.
it's because of the girl or the
Hmm.
woman. And that's where the hatred and the anti-feminism, women should always be subservient and stuff like that comes out.
Yeah. I think like that age 11 to 14 type, that is even biologically a very
Yeah.
different time, right? You're in puberty, you're going through a lot of changes, and even your understanding of the world, that is when it's forming, because till that time you're pretty sheltered. Now you're
Yeah.
in the middle of being sheltered and figuring it out on your own. So the question is, why are they seeking validation in the first place? Like you said, why aren't they just chilling out? But this is the
Yeah.
kind of times we are living in. I don't think it we can again and again just say it's the phone. Like they want to pass a law on that don't give children phones till they are a certain age.
Yes, the phones are there. That is part of the problem.
Hmm.
But I know kids who have a phone and they
Hmm.
are at that age. As long as they have a good support system, they have parents that they can talk to or good friends they can talk to. And if all of that is there around them, then I feel that they won't seek validation elsewhere. I don't remember my parents ever explicitly telling me don't do drugs or don't go drinking. They never
Hmm.
explicitly said it. They knew I would take the right decision, right? So I
Hmm.
feel that safe space was there. So I feel even today it is a different environment, but if that is there where you have a support system and safe space, it becomes easier for the child, is what I think.
In this Jamie's case, do you think it was really failed parenting? Because in the last episode, they're also like, what did we do wrong? He
Yeah,
wanted things, we gave him things. Yeah, we did work long hours, but nothing out of the ordinary.
right.
I feel it is also a reflection that everything can be okay at home, and
Yeah,
in a fit of rage or such things can happen. Each family is so different. Yeah, like you can't really have a blueprint for how a family should be. So again, it's that I don't think there is a what can we do. It's also that first action is this used to not happen with us, or this used to not happen 10 years ago, or this used to not happen 20 years ago, or 40, 50. But how long will you hold on to that narrative?
yeah,
We are living in a world of AI where we are having trouble understanding what is real and what is not. They are being born into this world. It's like high time we look into the future and say that, okay, this is reality. People are going to have phones. Even if I don't give him a phone, his friend can have a phone.
Correct.
And they can sit together for half an hour and Google crap. There is no way to
Yeah.
control it. And it's not give up, but just accept it.
Yeah. I agree with the whole, like, we were not, you know, हम
Hmm.
लोग तो ऐसा नहीं था, like, you know, when we were
Hmm.
growing up, you can't control everything, but can you try to sort of mitigate something like that, right?
Hmm.
I feel like as a parent, because I mean, with two kids now, which I feel parenting is like one of the hardest things, I think, because you're literally trying to raise these two people and send them into the society, which I'm like, and pray and cross your fingers ki they do well. I hope as a parent that there is something that I can do, or some way just be there for them, whatever, in
Hmm.
whatever little way I can, where it doesn't reach a
Hmm.
stage where you're like, what did I do wrong?
I don't think there is an answer to this. It's
Yeah, I
you,
don't think so.
and again, it comes down to just having as good as possible or as healthy as possible equation with your children. That's it.
Yeah.
Like that's the max parents can do, I feel. And that's what Jamie's father, I mean, coming back to the show, was like, what did I do wrong? He's constantly looking for that answer that what could that one thing have been in the past that I would have done differently and this wouldn't have happened. And there is just no answer to it
Yeah.
because for all you know, isn't attributed to anything that happened at home. Like it's just Jamie as an individual. That's it.
And
It's
I
very
think it
complex.
was it is. And that fourth episode, I was just, I mean, I related to it in a different way. Sometimes I'll do something and then after a few days, I know that it was wrong. And then you have this, what could I have done differently?
Yeah.
I then imagine that in that situation where your child has murdered someone. And you know, that feeling of, I can't go back and undo it. It's so heavy. And him and his wife having that conversation, it was just, it's so helpless. The sad thing was, they're saying to each other, like, we made him, you know? So it's not just we conceived him, but also like we made him what he is. It's so much of that guilt that these parents are carrying, that
Yeah.
we made him this way. And then there's a scene where the girl is totally opposite, right? The daughter. And where then he asks, how did we make her? And she's like, just like we made him. So that goes back to your point of like, how much can you do as a parent and
Yeah.
how much of it is your individual personality. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, man,
Oh my God,
brilliant show.
the last episode is like it's just you're holding your heart in your hand and just watching it being and the last scene, my God, like
With that little teddy bear.
yeah.
My God. He's just like put him under the sheets and stuff. Oh my goodness. I was
I
just like,
let's talk about episode
three.
three. That is the hero episode.
That kid, man,
So
he's so good.
that was the first scene he shot. Like they didn't do it
In order?
chronologically. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that was his first time as the character Jamie.
Wow. I thought they did it
No,
chronologically.
no.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. Huh. Interesting.
Episode
Three.
one was take two.
It's his first acting role.
Yeah.
Like he has not done anything before this. So what you were saying about how you thought that in the first episode they will show that maybe
Hmm.
he's framed, like it was not a knife or what whatever you thought. In episode 3 there were times where he was so innocent,
Yeah.
and I'm like, maybe he didn't do it. Like I knew he did it. And then suddenly he used to become a monster.
I
And I'm like,
know.
oh my god, the constant change.
When you read up more about that episode, they're just theories, but there is so much psychological layers to it. Like you said, this episode is just his psyche, and that is
Yeah.
something that is so difficult to understand. Like, even the sandwich has some kind of meaning.
The half sandwich or something, yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, it's like he said that he doesn't like pickles, but
Mm-hmm.
then in the end, he eats it. So it's
Yeah.
like an analogy of he said he was not really attracted to Katie. She was not his type, but he still wanted attention from her. Him throwing that hot chocolate that she could not touch the sandwich after having that kind of interaction with
Yeah,
him.
like the disgust.
Yeah. again open to interpretation, that she cannot believe what just happened. And this whole thing where he asks her, am I ugly? He's just waiting for her to say, no, you're, but she does not give in. Default reaction is, of course not. But she didn't give in to the whole aspect of
Yeah,
needing validation. She's like, you don't
correct.
need validation, is what she was trying
Yeah.
to communicate.
And also like an objective assessment, right? Because she's like, I'm not here to tell you
Hmm.
what you want to hear.
Hmm.
And it happens twice in the soccer game. He says, my father could not see me. He was ashamed of me. And then she asks him, how did that make you feel? He's like, that's not what you're supposed to say. Like, you should say, no, of course, he's not ashamed of you. And
Hmm.
it's like those two times where he is just seeking validation.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to like these kids are just seeking validation. Like, where will I
Yeah.
get it? Right?
The scene where after the CCTV footage is revealed and Stephen Graham starts crying, he cannot look at Jamie. He's looking away, and apparently that is the same thing what happened on the football thingy. He's ashamed of him, so he's
Yeah.
not able to
Oh
look
my
at him.
God. I mean, not sad with the murder thing, but sad
Mm.
with the soccer. But see, I'm not blaming parent, but maybe if the parent had been like, it's okay, you're not great at it,
Hmm.
and you don't enjoy it, we can do something else, or it's fine, don't worry about it, versus looking away and maybe
Hmm.
making your kid feel that you're ashamed. Sorry, Stephen Graham, but
When you hang out, some parent says something and they're like, "Arey, ye to scar ho gaya, ye scar." Doesn't it happen with you?
so I think
No.
now it will after watching this. अरे यार क्यों किया ऐसे? It's like a negative core memory.
Ooh, Gen Z terms, boomer.
Is it Gen Z?
I
Is core
don't know,
memory?
Avanti. I am not.
You saw how proud I
Yeah.
felt? I felt like one of those Gen Z
Validation.
kids who validation.
क्या होगा इस देश का? अभी भी validation.
यहाँ पे on the wrong side of 30s बैठ के validation seek कर रहे हैं.
Almost on the right side of 40s.
God.
So, Adolescence, if you've not watched it, please do. It may be heavy and all that, but especially if you're a parent, please do. It's not a way to learn something, it is just a snapshot of reality.
I agree with the fact, especially if your parents. It's so eye opening because these things are happening. He said in the interview that I saw two incidents that happened on like two different sides of the country.
Mm.
They were stabbing incidents. So, yes, if you haven't watched it, you
Yes.
should.
Watch Adolescence.
Yes. All
That's all.
right. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Bye.